So thank you guys for attending the class. Today we're going to talk about, home buyer grants and creating more opportunity for more buyers. So if you have a buyer that happens to be short to close, they didn't save enough money, with this program, we have the ability to help them get either 10,000 or 15,000. It all depends on the property county. I know I'm sharing a couple of attachments, so you have the guide, but I'll go over also this, but you can have the PDF attachment handy just so you kind of have an idea of what county, what it is. But, we are in Bergen County. So for Bergen, Essex, and Hudson, the grant is 15,000. So, and it can be used for a single family and two families. So, we'll get into that. So the first-time home buyer, HOMAR programs are foundational government mortgage programs that can be combined with the down payment assistance. So actually, there's two different programs that are available. So one of the programs is through the NJHFMA that the customer can get a mortgage through them, will still be the loan officer, will facilitate everything. Those rates are a lot cheaper, but also has more restrictions, when it comes to debt to income ratio and credit score requirements and whatnot. So, when the customer comes in, it is our job to identify where we can place the customer that makes more sense, for them. Both can be combined. So, we can do their mortgage and their down payment assistance, or you can do a mortgage through Caliber and get the down payment assistance. All this is a 30-year fixed rate term, and the rates for their program are determined by the NJHFMA, and they are sent to us, by 10 a.m. each day. So rates change daily, just like they change daily with, the regular bank programs. So the first time a home buyer program, this must be, hold on, let me move this because it's, there you go. So it's not over that. Okay. So borrowers must occupy the residence in New Jersey. So this grant is for someone that's going to buy a house so they can live in it, and this property must be located in New Jersey. So if you live in New Jersey and you're looking to buy a house in Pennsylvania, you cannot use this. However, if you live in Pennsylvania and you want to buy a house in New Jersey, you can still get this grant as long as that house is going to be your primary residence. The borrower must qualify and meet all the requirements by the program, and also the mortgage loan originated through through the participating lender, which is us, Caliber. The borrower must be a first-time home buyer. So let's determine what's a first-time home buyer. So a first-time home buyer, it's someone that does not own a home, has never owned a home, but also it could be somebody that has owned a house in the past and hasn't had one in the last 3 years, okay? The program, customers must have a 620 credit score. So I know when I speak to you about different programs for customers, and this is just to get the grant. So let's not get confused, the grant requirements with the loan requirements by Caliber, right? So we have products that you can get a loan with a 580 score, but if that customer is looking to get this grant, it will not meet it because the 620 is what they require. So if your customer has a 580, even though they can get an FHA loan, they're not allowed to get this grant, right? So I guess they have some standards you must meet. Borrower must not possess more than 25% of the purchase price in liquid assets. So if the customer does have money in the bank to buy a house, and it's more than 25% of that purchase price, they cannot get the grant. So really this grant, it's made for families that really don't have the means to be able to save. So, the state's helping them to get an additional 15,000 to be able to accomplish the dream. If you have more than 25% of the of liquid assets in the bank, then there's no need for you to be getting this program, okay? There's additional perks if the customer is buying a house in the urban targeted areas. If you're interested in knowing what those areas are, the printout that was shared on the chat and the printout that you have in front of you on page 2, it gives you the what the income limits for those areas are, and it tells you at the bottom which what are those areas, right? So if we're looking at Bergen County, urban targeted areas are Garfield and Hackensack. If you're looking at Essex County, the urban target areas, it's Newark, East Orange, Irvington, Montclair, West Orange, and Orange County. In Orange, in Hudson County, it's Jersey City, Bayonne, Kearney, Harrison, North Bergen, Guttenberg, West New York, Union City, Hoboken, and West New York. So, you know.
Can you get an FHA loan and get that grant?
Yes. However, if your customer has a debt to income ratio, if your customer has a 580 credit score and I'm able to get him an FHA loan, he cannot get this because this program requires a minimum 620 credit score.
But if he has a 620.
But if he's got a 620, he can absolutely get an FHA loan and get the grant, yes. So that's why, you know, we're gonna give you so much information here today. I don't expect you to know if a customer qualifies, right? Because we don't want to tell people something and then they come here and they don't qualify and then they're upset at you. So the proper conversation is there is a grant available in New Jersey. We just got to see if you qualify for that. So why don't I have you talk to Mike or Heidi so they can determine if you meet the qualifications to get the grant. But there is a grant available. We just got to see if you qualify for it, right? So that's really what you want to tell customers, right? It's, you know, talk to Mike or Heidi. We are going to know those numbers. We are going to know if they fit into this program, okay? So the income limits are different, as if I was saying. So the urban targeted areas in Bergen County, the customer can make up to $153,240 and still get this grant, right? If it's not an urban target area, so if it's a customer that's buying a house here in Rutherford, for example, right? That's Bergen County. Or in Clifton, that's Passaic County, the customers can make up to $127,700. That's the max income. So if a customer wanted to get this grant, and let's say they make $200,000 a year, they don't qualify for this grant. They make too much money for it. See what I mean? So I don't expect you to know that part of it. That's my job. Also, there's maximum purchase price limits, right? So you can see that at the bottom of the page on that same, you know, like the statewide limits, right? So they cannot purchase in Bergen County a single family that's for more than $806,598, right? So that's the max purchase price they can do. So if they were buying a house for $900,000, and even though they fit in all the categories, if they don't meet the purchase price category, they still cannot get this grant, right? So a customer that's gonna get this grant cannot get a house, a single family for more than 806 and cannot make a more than 127,700 in Rutherford, okay? Why is it moving? Okay. So there's also debt to income ratio requirements, right? So my programs allow me to go conventional up to 50. FHA lets me go up to 58 back-end ratio. This program has this requirements. 40 front, 50, so on the first time home buyer program, it's 40 front, 47 back end. If we're doing the loan and you're just getting the down payment assistance, then, 50% it's the max. So if I have a customer going FHA, because the debt to income ratio, let's say was 52,
They don't qualify.
they don't get this grant either. So because you gotta adhere to our qualifications, but also their qualifications, this is why it's too much for you to know. So the best thing to say is there is a grant available. If I'm gonna put you in touch with the people, the bank that does the product, and we will figure out what your customer qualifies.
Yeah, for FHA, cut your buying power down by a little bit, because you only can go up to 50. Where normally you could go up to 56.9, I think it is.
No, I can go 58.
58.
Yeah, 46 for
Right.
at front
Yeah.
ratio, yeah. So, we went over the income limits, maximum cash back at
There's also
closing.
a certain amount of
3,000.
time they live in the house, right, 5 years.
Yeah, no, we get into that later, so, so lender tips, so, this is, more or less the qualifications they're gonna ask, so as you can see, same thing, what we get, we gather all this for them, so the customer does not need to speak to them. At the same time, the difference is I usually go back 2 years tax returns, they want 3 years tax returns, right? So, we end up getting, this is the requirements when it comes to them, right? So we just, as a lender, when I know your customer is gonna come in, trying to get a grant, I'm going to know to ask for the specifications. It's pretty much what I asked for, which is last 3 years of taxes, 2 months bank statements, they want borrowers more have available, they do want reserves, right? So our products don't require reserves, they want at least 1 month reserve. So what that means is if the mortgage payment with taxes and insurance is gonna be $2,500, the day of closing, there better be left $2,500 in the bank account, that a bank account cannot be zero. So it's an additional income that borrower must have. There is also overlays when it comes to collection accounts. So if you have collection accounts, even though we don't ask you to pay for those collections, this product does not want you to have any collections, so they either ask you to pay them before closing or you will be required to pay them at closing. So pretty much they're just protecting, when a customer does use this product to get the grant, pretty much at closing, they're gonna get a first mortgage by us, right? So the big mortgage, and then it's another mortgage that gets recorded into the title as a second lien, okay? And the requirement is that they have to stay in the house for, for 5 years. They will require well septic certifications are required with this product, pest inspections. The customer has to take credit counseling. We give them a link to where to take that class for free. So they got to take a class. At the end of the class, they take a test. Pretty much teaches them how to be a homeowner. It teaches them, if something breaks, how to come up with the to income ratio. It teaches them how to save. It teaches them what other expenses they're going to have besides this mortgage once they go into buying a home. And this is the difference between both products, right? So for number one, it's the bond product. It does give customers better interest rates, but they want 620 minimum score. The ratios are 40 to 47. It has lower income limits as well. It's got purchase limits, it also works for the targeted areas. It allows you to do more income on the urban targeted areas. Borrower cannot exceed, 25%. So overall, it looks like they all have about the same requirements, except for possible federal recapture tax depending on appreciation, years of ownership, and other factors about who signed at the school.
One has a lender fee as well, an application fee of $1,200.
Yeah, and
The other one doesn't.
and the other one doesn't. So Well, that's because we collect
You
that
collect
up front
Right.
from the customer. Here, this is them doing our program, which, you know, we don't collect anything up front. This product, the bond product requires me to collect that money up front from the customer. The down payment assistance, again, depending on the county, 15%. The loan is forgivable, and you make no payment. So it's a loan, it gets attached to title. So if they decide to sell in 3 years, they decide to sell the house, they're gonna have to pay the loan back. Okay, if you live in the house for 5 years, it automatically dissolves out of title, you don't have to pay it back. So the key here is they gotta own it for 5 years, okay? It is available for new constructions and must be used for, so again, only for primary residents. So if your customer is looking to invest and it's short money, they cannot get this product. And I think that is pretty much, we touched on all this.
Yep.
Pretty much, you know, the difference between the counties, right? So Atlantic, Burlington, Camden, Cape May, Cumberland, Gloucester, Salem, Warren, and Sussex only get 10, all the other counties get 15. Do you guys have any questions?
Questions? Nope, no chat.
No? All right, well, I guess that concludes our class. I know I gave you the printout, it's pretty self-explanatory. But if you have any questions, you need any customers to talk to us about this, we'll be more than happy. I know there's another one that Caliber is getting approved for. It's not officially approved, but that one's gonna be 35,000. But I'll let you know once it gets approved, it's on the works.
A grant,
Yeah.
35,000.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now we're really talking.
Yeah.
I know, that's a lot.
You know, but it's on the works, it's not approved, so I can't really talk about it. 'Cause I don't know what it's gonna look like just yet,
Yeah,
but
don't know
I know Caliber
qualifications.
is negotiating into becoming an approved lender for it, so.
Alright.
Once it becomes available to us, I will let you know, but that's what I have on grants. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions after this,
Yes.
okay? Manda, I think you can cut us out.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
bye-bye.